Excuse me. Hello. Welcome to this afternoon sprint session. Um, I am apparently working on reducing my extra background noise. I apologize for that. How are you, Dominica? You know, it's funny because it actually shows me there's no one in the chat, but it gave me your message. I'm still learning all this stuff. Thank you. Um, got a new setup, so if anything seems a little off, please tell me as we're going along. Um, it's not a lot, but it's a couple of things to hopefully help this work out. Hey, Jason. Um, I think we've got one other lurker that I was told might show up. Yeah, there does seem to be a bit of a delay. I'm still not sure how to adjust all of those settings. All part of the learning process. I am going to work on it though when we get through today, so that I can. There's a free class that I just recently found, and really, whenever you're learning something new, if you can find a quick intro class or tutorial, definitely use it. Um, so I've got um, our timer up. I apologize. I'm going to set it for 10 minutes like this morning instead of 15. Um, do you mind dropping a little bit about what you're doing with your book? I am taking this story, which is a sci fi, technically an alternate reality. And I'm going to add it to one of the series that I've got already out. Hey, Hero, how are you? Um, I'm going to add this to a series I've already got out, although there is a chance that I'll be pulling it down to revamp the same series. Um, but it'll all mesh together when I'm done. Oh no. I hope it comes up without a problem. The last computer crash I had was quite unnerving. I was I was asking if you wanted to share some of a little bit about your nano work stuff, or perhaps the new project you started mapping. That that does sound like it'll be intense. The Dominica, that's the book you're doing by hand. Well, when you get it all typed up, I'd love to see it. Sounds like it'll be a fun read. It's funny, I have to remember the camera's in front of me. The conversation is beside me. It's a little getting used to still. Sorry about that. I'm going to go ahead and start the sprint timer if you're up for it. I'm going to start it in about 15 seconds. And 10 minutes. Wonderful. I love that feeling, Hero, when you finish something and you're just like, oh, that's the stuff. Yeah, that's awesome. Ooh, that's intense. That is really intense. That is vivid. You can see it. You can feel it. That's great, Hero. That's really great. Right. Now, is that for one of your nano books, Hero, or is that for the new book that you started on? It's amazing how stories start off one way in our mind, but really result in something totally different. Excuse me. Once we get started. Of the stories you're doing for Nano, which one's your favorite so far? Is it this one? The one that kind of took on a life of its own? The ones that captivate us seem to draw us into a different place. They are. It's like they have a life of their own, and it's just amazing. Yay. Happy is good. Happy is awesome. You really get to explore a lot of stuff with fantasy, too. Oh no. Oh, migraines are awful. Are you able to take anything for it? Do you rest? I mean, what works best? That's time. And I got 264 words. I added 4 more words after the timer went off. How about you, Dominica? How'd your sprint go? Migraines are horrible, Hero. I hope you've got a way of treating it so you can rest. There's always going to be a replay. And it does absolutely count. That's the point of sprints, is that it helps you get through the things that need to get done. Okay. Just take good care of yourself, Hero. Okay. So, do you want to tell us a little bit about your blog, Dominica? What you're working on for your blog? Blogs take a lot of dedication, and they're really worth it if you put the time in. And I find it hard juggling my blog and my writing for my books and all of my promotional stuff, other stuff that I do. It just seems like it adds up so quickly. A lot of admiration and respect for those who can make it all, set it all up right. It's a wonderful thing. I know one of the strategies that I've used in the past that was always good was to sit down on one day and do a bulk set of articles or posts on, say, a Monday or a Tuesday, schedule them out for the month, go on the next day, you'd pick a different task to bulk do. For me, that might be blogging on Monday, recording on Tuesday, book writing on Wednesday. As long as you're consistent and you're able to make it come together the way you want it to, because of that consistency, you'll see the results you want. Are you up for another sprint? Sounds like a pretty broad array of topics for your blog. What do you like putting up the most? Oh, migraines can be such a bear. Sorry about that. I suppose it depends on what you're trying to build for your brand. Is this going to be your author blog? An author blog usually can be very personal, but you want to build up the brand that you're working on. So, for example, if you're establishing yourself as a paranormal mystery thriller writer, you might want to discuss some of those elements and, on a personal side, what fascinates you about them. That would be one way you could go personal and build a brand. Hmm. No, that did not do what I wanted. Sorry. Okay. And is this kind of surviving at all costs? Or surviving despite yourself? Or just being a survivor? Finding your brand is a lot like finding your voice, especially for authors. So if you know you have kind of a goal in mind, as far as your stories go, that's where your brand is. Um, that's what you kind of want to find ways to focus on. I know with my books, excuse me. Okay. I apologize. I've got something caught in my throat. I know with my books, the general overarching theme is tolerance and compassion, and there's a very heavy anti-bigotry message in all of my books. Um, so when I sit down and try to work on my brand, I really do try to, okay, in reality, I don't have to try. These are things that I try to live by, so it's just who I am. So I don't have to try to build a separate persona, if that makes sense. And if surviving against the odds is kind of an easy message for you to put across, then it's great for you to find stories, perhaps your own if it applies, but also others who have overcome unexpected odds, perhaps a commentary on the boys from Taiwan, the soccer team in Taiwan, or if keeping busy is good. Um, with your brand, I know they you want it to look polished, you want it to look professional, and that's the ultimate outcome. But as you're coming around to what you want to do with it, excuse me, I'm sorry. It it doesn't always come across that way. Sometimes it comes across um, very personal, very individual, Now, those who are brand building experts, they'll tell you do exactly this and do exactly that, and they're 100% correct because they know that their entire focus is building your brand. But as you're coming to figure out what exactly you're trying to do and the message you want to send, that's the great thing about exploring and experimenting like you're doing, Dominica. I find for me the best way of handling it is to just stay on the message that I would share with anybody, which is, care about your fellow person first. It doesn't mean that there's not going to be some hard times, that you won't find friction. And so I include that in all of my stories in one form or another. So when I remember to write blog posts, and that's kind of my problem, I don't always remember to. But when I sit down to write them and I stay organized and on schedule, they always seem to have that thread. It's either that or helping people. That's the other thing that's really important to me. Like this, helping people stay on track for their writing. Understand that this is a thing that you can do. You don't have to be that person sitting in the back burner with a story in the back of your head wondering if you can get it out of you and then not doing it because it's going to be too big a project. But we're proving 10 minutes at a time we got this. That's exactly it, Hero. That's exactly it. I'm glad to be able to help. That's true. You absolutely do not want to build a brand like that. There are people who go into nonfiction, try to write or market to what sells, as opposed to what they're going to stick with. They build a brand about, like you said, Cooking Hero, and because in their mind it sells, it's easy. Let's go easy. But really, if you can't stick with it in the long haul, and if you're building a solid brand around something you really don't like, you're not going to stick with it. And so any income you make in the first place is going to disappear because you're not sticking with it. Exactly. It is okay. It's You'll find your voice and you'll know exactly how you want to what direction you want to take it. And then from there, you'll build your brand. And you'll be able to connect with your readers, and you'll be able to connect with a community or two, because you may have an author community that you connect with. You might have a reader community. And sometimes they overlap and sometimes they don't. And that's really cool. But keep doing what you're doing. If it's helping you find where you want to go, keep doing exactly what you're doing. Are you up for another sprint? Okay. In my humble opinion, posting a recipe for your villain is a fabulous tie-in to your book. It's a fabulous place to use to promote your book. And that book promotion should be done even before your book is ready. So, but if it's out, then you can post it with your book and say, find out more about this villain at this location, just give them a link or links, if you're wide, to your books. So promotion is good. It doesn't matter whether it's on your blog or anywhere. You're an author. That's part of what you're trying to do and what you're trying to build. Absolutely talk about your villains. Talk about your heroes. Talk about your setting. The voice that comes with that as you're creating and you're discussing and you're drawing people's attention will pan out the way you want it to. Okay, I'm setting the timer here for 10 minutes. If you're ready, I will hit start. And go. I'm glad I was able to help. Well, we were able to help. That's the great thing about a budding community. Excuse me. Wow, we are already under 4 minutes. Oh, excuse me. I am so sorry. Keep thinking I'm just adjusting something in my throat, and it seems to be much more. I'm sure you're doing great, and it's good that we keep going. We're making a good dent in our progress. Under a minute. I'm going right into the timer. On time. How'd you do? Are you happy with your results? I'm checking my numbers now. Not bad, just shy of 500 words. That's still good. You're making progress, Dominica. That is fantastic. That's exactly what you want to do. 100 words, 1,200 words. It's all the same as long as you're making progress. How was your sprint, hero? Are you happy with your results? How are you feeling? And I'm quite satisfied with what I've got sitting here. It's very productive for me. Gives me a lot of ideas for where this story is going, which is always fun. You know, that actually doesn't surprise me. You pushed through a barrier that you created for yourself, and your characters have come alive for that. It just gets fun after that, Dominica. It's like the most thrilling thing. At least it is to me. We are approaching the 45-minute mark, so I'm probably going to be tying things up here. I will be back at in the morning between 5:15 and 5:30 Central Time in U.S. time. And I will be sprinting. And we're also going to just open the floor to talk a little bit like we do this afternoon or evening, depending on where you're at in the world. Thank you so much for visiting. I'd still love to hear your thoughts, Hero, and how you did with this last sprint. Just take good care of you, okay? It was a good talk. It was very enjoyable. And I'm looking forward to more of them. I'll see you in the morning.